Tell me I didn't kill this. Lie to me. Lebu Matasa who? I'm kidding. Oh.
I mean, who knows? I could be the vibe you've been missing.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here then it's just hi. My name is Mataka Kamaje and thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you like my content enough to stay and subscribe, and if you do, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to comment if you will. Thank you. Today we are doing a profile get ready with me. This is actually the final little girl. Yes, I did that. Anyway, please don't forget to do all the other things that I've mentioned. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Alright, so I've already done my brows because I put baby powder on my face just to make it matte, because I have really, I don't want to say oily, but shiny skin. So I want it to be, if you're new to these profile and get ready with me, I don't list the makeup products that I use because the point of the video is not the makeup. The makeup is just there to keep me busy while I talk, because I don't want to just talk and talk and talk. And it'll make it taller so I can compose myself and act like I'm focusing on concealing when really I'm trying to find the proper English word. But otherwise, I'm gonna carry on. So today we are talking about, okay, so obviously I've started with my makeup, but today we're going to be profiling a young man by the name of Nkosinathi. I think his alias is Nzimbi, I could be wrong. Nkosinathi Zondi, who is a Debunking born 25-year-old soccer player. He's well renowned for his soccer skills. Actually, I don't know, I've never seen him play. I'm not a soccer fan, but apparently he's very good. So now this young gentleman has found himself neck deep in philanthropy, where he has decided that he wants to start a foundation, or a campaign rather, that is aimed at unpacking the tragedies or the traumas of young men or boy children, that he named Talk Boy Child. So now, like I said, Nkosinathi used to be a soccer player, and excuse the pun, but after finding out a heartbreaking tragedy that eventually threw a spanner in his career, he realized that it wasn't easy for boy children to be open about the issues that they're going through, without being judged or looked at in a certain way, without having to go through the judgment of monna ke nku ha lle, which I mean is dumb really, but this is the society that we're living in. And Nkosinathi's passion is all about unraveling all these things, unpacking them, changing the narrative of what a real man in society is. Side note, I am trying an iced blender for the first time, and girl, get on this shit. Talking to Nkosinathi, he said ultimately he wants to create a safe space for young men where they can talk and share their pains and experiences without being judged, where they can comfortably open up about their struggles without feeling like they are lesser than simply because they're going through certain things, especially things like abuse of the sexual nature, of the physical nature, or that of the mental. Society has painted men to, be the strong ones in the midst of everything, but who's really there to listen when men need to talk? And this is something, the narrative that Nkosinathi is trying to change. He talks about his own personal experiences where he couldn't even express himself properly because he felt like he wasn't being paid as much attention as his female siblings, which in most cases is true. He uses an example where he says there was never a time when his whereabouts were questioned simply because he's a boy, and naturally you expect boys to know how to protect themselves outside of their homes, whereas with girls there was a lot of panic, and sometimes that brings about an air of negligence, because why aren't you worried about me as much as you're worried about them? Yes, bad things are happening, but they could easily happen to boy children as well. So this is something that he holistically wants to tackle. And he also believes that maybe if we look at tackling these issues, healing men, maybe we can heal the other problems that society is facing, your gender-based violence, which, by the way, gender includes both. Okay, let me not say both, includes all sexes. Everybody can experience abuse at any given time, and you should not be held back to speak about anything simply because you're scared of how other people are going to look at you. So with that being said, these are the kind of things that Nkosinathi is trying to fight against, or in a better way, say change within society, especially for male children. Nkosinathi also emphasizes the rising use of drugs within boy children, simply because they're looking for advice and seeking for resolutions in places where they shouldn't be, where it's much easier for them to fall into the trap of using your nyaupe or your crystal meth because that is what is available within the circles that they're running in. You understand? Um, it's very easy to look at a situation and just judge the very first um, solution that you came to, but you don't really know what a person had to go through and had to fight against in order for them to eventually decide that the only solution for their problems would be to then solve it with drugs. So he wants to tackle all these problems so that it is seen and understood that boy children are having it just as hard as female children, especially because they're not offered outlets, especially because they're not being heard enough, and especially because their tears are more of a mockery in society than a cry for actual help. So, with this campaign, he really hopes to bring about some sort of awareness, and maybe this could be a chance for older men in the society to also talk to the younger men that are growing up around them, for them to make them understand that there are better ways to deal with the problems that you're facing. There are better ways to tackle them. There are better ways to cry out for help. And seeing as men are most likely to commit suicide than women, isn't this really a direction that we should be taking as a society, where the narrative ya hore monna ke nku halle, this is not the 1950s. Come on. Okay, we need more solutions that actually work. Ultimately, Nkosinathi hopes to debunk the myth that a cry for help is not a weakness, and also to shine the light into considering the feelings of men, and young boys, that it is okay to need help. It is okay to not always have everything under control. It is okay to not always know what to do, and that there is always somebody to turn to in times like those. And I think that's a great initiative, especially when we've seen such a rise in suicide amongst men, even men that were looked up to, your Patrick Shies, who were men in the communities that people looked to for advice. So if a man like that, a man who was willing to give hope to other people, still found himself at the end of something that he was talking other men out of, I don't know. So I'm just saying, let's just consider the possibilities that maybe with this whole Indoda Kali thing, we don't have it figured out. Talking to him further, Nkosinathi says he hopes that he can target young men as young as 13 in order to start grooming them into the men that they believe they can be for themselves and the men that society needs. He believes that he can, at least starting with that age, start instilling basic life skills like open communication and healthy communication. Nkosinathi also says that he does believe that one man can change the world. However, in order for a man to do that, he needs to first change himself, change the things that he thinks about, change how he thinks about things and how he views life. It is going to take the ear of more than one man in order to change or make a difference when it comes to a program like this. But the fact that one young man has taken the first step proves that something can be done. And after all, Sesotho se re, tsela e botswa ho ba pele. So what more than older men in the community getting involved and playing their part in seeing younger men in the community grow to be, better men, men who know how to handle issues better, men who know how to communicate better, and men who know how to match their words with their actions. To me, this sounds like a pretty good deal. Mr. Zondi further elaborates that he hopes that a program like this being started from the outside can also bring about change within homes as well. He says that when you experience a tough upbringing, it's not easy to always hear things just because they're being shouted at you. So maybe to have an environment where young men can have somebody who talks to them specifically about their problems, specifically advises the things that they need to hear, maybe it will be easier to bring up more functioning men in society, which to me sounds like it makes more sense. Nkosinathi also believes that if society handled the issues that men are facing with as much conviction and interest as they did with female issues, then we would have a much more balanced society in where everybody could state their problems openly without having to feel like one is more important than the other. He also believes that with that, we can also solve the problems of gender based violence, considering that in most cases, the perpetrators are men. So, with tackling why men are reacting in the way they're reacting, then maybe we could lessen the effects of how they're reacting instead of just constantly pointing fingers and asking, am I next, without really doing anything about it. Nkosinathi also very adamantly states, "Sithola kanzima ngaphandle singamadoda," and sometimes he wishes that he wasn't maybe born a male because of how differently we are treated in society. He really hopes that by bringing about this campaign, it brings about a certain change, maybe not immediately, but eventually, and that people see that it is important to cover both bases of life in order for us to understand what is going on with the other, instead of just pointing out what the other one is doing and not getting to the root of the problems. And now finally we have come to the end of the video. I hope that I have said a mouthful, and with everything that I've said, you've taken a little from it that could hopefully change your mind or make you want to help within the initiative. Please, the first step is really just starting. You don't have to know how far you'll go with it. You just have to know that you're going to start and keep going at it. We all have brothers. We all know what we're going through with our brothers, with our cousins, and really the best thing we can do is just offer them the help that we think they might need. Please, 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 I'm going to be linking Nkosinathi's information, or his social media rather, in the description box below. Get in touch with him, ask him what you need to, ask him how you can go about in being one of the people that are giving advice, or ask him how you can go about in being one of the people that is receiving help. But whatever you do, please let it be towards positive change. Now, finally, with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in yet again. Please don't forget to subscribe, please don't forget to like, and please don't forget to share. And if you feel free, you can just comment. It really does help the channel. I like hearing from every single one of you, all 86 of you. I like hearing from you. So please keep in touch, and I will see you next video.